Fittingly named Apple Park, the new headquarters for tech giant Apple cost a staggering $5 billion. It's not surprising to see why when you check out all that the headquarters offers. Built in Cupertino, California, the Apple Park is built on 176 acres and took 8 years to go through the planning, proposal, permit, application, and construction processes. In 2017, the 12,000 Apple employees began working from the spaceship, filling in the 4-story, 2,800,000 square foot building. While the building is immense, it's also eco-friendly. What features does this $5 billion Apple Park have? Let's go in deep to find out more. Come with us. Steve Jobs required that the campus be more like a nature refuge than an office park. So some 80% of Apple Park is green space that has been planted with drought-resistant trees and indigenous plants. Large orchards dot the property and supply fruit for the cafeterias. The roof is covered in solar panels, which provide approximately 75% of the campus's power needs. The building is also designed to resist earthquakes. The cost of the building reached such astronomical levels in part because of the circular design. Jobs explained, "It's a circle, so it's curved all the way around. This is not the cheapest way to build something. Every pane of glass in the main building will be curved. We have a shot at building the best office building in the world. I really do think that architecture students will come here to see it." That circular building is immense, measuring 1 mile in circumference. Buses and bikes are provided for employees to get from one end of the campus to the other. Under the building is a network of roads and parking spaces. The campus also features 7 cafes and a 100,000 square foot fitness center. The Steve Jobs Theater seats 1,000 people, and there are also 2 large buildings for the research and development facilities as well as a care clinic for employees. There is a visitor center for people to check out, but the majority of the campus is closed to the public, so you'll have to check out the video to learn more or get hired at Apple. Now, keep in mind, this isn't your standard campus. Dare I call it the iPhone of campuses. The behemoth campus with Norman Foster will have 3.7 miles of curved glass wrapping around the building, giving it an almost spaceship-like look. In the middle will be an airy ring of 6,000 trees across 300 species that Apple is flying in. Apple's chief arborist, David Muffley, says, "The idea was to bring California back to Cupertino." The corporate campus is obviously a thing of beauty and wonder you must, as all that green space is going to be for employees only. If you happen to live in Cupertino, you're probably on either side of the fence about this new monster office. On the one hand, it's a lot of jobs, but on the other, it's added traffic congestion and is only going to make the Bay Area housing issue even worse. In a fitting twist for a building often referred to as a spaceship, Apple's $5 billion circular Apple Park campus doesn't actually rest on the surface of the planet. Instead, it sits on nearly 700 huge stainless steel saucers intended to protect the building's foundation from natural disasters such as earthquakes. In the event of an earthquake, the campus is able to shift up to 4 feet on those saucers. In an interview with the New York Times, Joni Ive, Apple's chief design officer, said earthquake preparedness was an essential component of the building's design. I've said the late Apple co-founder Steve Jobs was inspired by Japanese building design where base isolation technology is more common than in the US. The new campus was completed in early 2018, though some of the company's staff started moving back in late 2017. Apple's new headquarters was notoriously expensive to construct, with features like 4-story glass windows and a detached 1,000-person theater for product announcements. It even produces its own electricity powered by a solar panel-covered roof. With more than $5 billion invested and over 12,000 employees working on the campus, including CEO Tim Cook, it's no surprise that Apple wants to protect its headquarters. More than 9,000 engineers and other Apple employees work in the building, which has its own electricity supplied and a vast atrium with a variety of fruit trees, including, perhaps not surprisingly, many varieties of apple. 2 stories underground, beneath offices where engineers design iPhones and MacBooks, the building rests on 692 huge stainless steel saucers. When the ground shakes, the building can shift as much as 4 feet in any direction on the saucers. Picture an ice cube on a plate. If you shake the plate back and forth, the ice cube slides and stays nearly stationary. Paradoxically, the specific base isolation system that Apple uses was designed and manufactured a short drive away, on the other side of the San Francisco Bay, at a company called Earthquake Protection Systems. Most of what the company produces is exported to earthquake-prone countries such as Turkey, Peru, and Ecuador. Very few American companies use any earthquake mitigation technology for their buildings. Apple's headquarters, purposefully nestled amid trees and meadows, stands in contrast to the unremarkable architecture that is the hallmark of Silicon Valley. Evan Reyes, a structural engineer who works in Silicon Valley, says the area has thousands of cheaply built structures known as tilt-ups that are known to be vulnerable to collapse in an earthquake. Both workers and executives are often unaware that their buildings are dangerous, he said. A lot of Silicon Valley companies, whether they are startups or established companies, are in buildings from the 1970s and 80s that don't meet current code requirements, Mr. Reyes said. Mr. Reyes is a co-founder of the U.S. Resiliency Council, a non-profit organization founded to spread the message that even buildings constructed to code can be badly damaged in earthquakes. Yet, even if all companies in Silicon Valley had buildings as robust as Apple's, it would not make the region earthquake-proof. Roads, mass transit, electricity, water, and telecommunication systems, not to mention the homes of employees, are all likely to be damaged by a big earthquake. And base isolation devices have their limits too. Thomas H. Heaton, a director of the Earthquake Engineering Research Laboratory at the California Institute of Technology, warns that a big enough quake could theoretically throw a building off its steel saucers. The technology has proved its effectiveness in earthquakes in Japan and Latin America, but engineers say a direct hit to a modern American city would be the ultimate determinant of resilience. In February 2018, there were reports that emergency services had treated Apple staff for injuries caused by walking into the campus's numerous glazed walls. At least 2 people had received treatment for minor cuts to the head, and, according to a report on Twitter, 7 people physically hurt themselves on the first day the campus opened. Do you want to visit it? Write down your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, drop us a like and consider subscribing to get notifications of our next uploads.